Hello and welcome to the first episode of Alt Center News, where we report news that matters. We don't sit there reporting the same shit over and over again and talking about whatever the politicians want to talk about. We talk about what actually matters. Before we get started with actual news, I wanted to mention something. I got a call from a state senator today and they said, well, we can't help you much. You need to talk to federal people. And I agree with you on that, and that's why I've contacted the feds. But what you can do is try to get the Austin bomber's confession released, because there is no Austin bomber confession. Supposedly Mark Anthony Condit, for 15 minutes straight, told him all about where to find the bombs and talked about why he did it and all that stuff. And maybe you can get them, or at least if you're a senator, maybe you can get them to show you what sounds like Mark Anthony Condit's confession. But if you actually want to know that the confession's authentic, then what you need to do is get it released to the public. He was a lone wolf bomber. He was a crazy person. He confessed for 17 minutes straight. So supposedly I think there's a video he made on his phone, and he told them where to find all these bombs that he planted. So there should be pictures of the bombs that they found, and there also should be a confession. And I'm just telling you guys, there's no confession. One of the things the feds do when they murder someone is they burn them. They burn all the evidence. And so there is no confession. There is no, Mark Anthony Condit wasn't the actual bomber. I caught the real bomber. And that's what you can do, is try to get that confession released. Because if the feds are coming into Texas and they're murdering people, and then they're covering up for the people that are murdering people, then that's a state level issue. And that's why state senators should be involved. And that's why you guys should help me out. I understand that a lot of you guys are conservatives and that you don't particularly care to help out liberal people like me. But fortunately, I'm alt-center, but I'm center-left. And what you should know is that this isn't a left or right issue. This is an issue that affects all Americans. And what has happened is that the feds have done all kinds of crazy stuff, and they're viciously mean. They murder people and they get away with it because they control law enforcement. If you looked at the Austin bomber, or if you've looked into the Austin bomber, what you know is that the chief police of Austin, Texas, covered it up. Chief Manley. He was involved with the cover-up. The ATF was involved. The FBI was involved. There were a lot of people involved with this cover-up. So someone needs to do something about this. Someone needs to stop them. I'd say call the Texas Rangers. I say call the mayors. I say call the governor and say, we want this confession released. Texas as a whole wants the truth. And the truth is that the real Austin bomber was murdering people because he suspected them of drug trafficking. And that's why I met him. And that's why he was stalking me. So on to the news. I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene is being a bitch. And pardon me for calling her a bitch. If she was a man, I'd say he's being an asshole. But she wants to make sure everyone knows that there's a man and a woman and there's no in between. But that's because she's stupid enough to not realize that there's something called a hermaphrodite, and hermaphrodites have penises and vaginas. And if there's a man and a woman, then I guess a man can turn into a woman and a woman can turn into. Who cares? Like, why do you care so much? Why do you got to be a bitch about it? And that's the real question, is like, why in the world would people elect someone like that? And what I think is people suck. And that's the reality about the United States, is there are a lot of people that suck, and there are a lot of people that want to cover up for nasty people and the nasty things people have done. And the problem with that is you're going to get people killed, because all I'm saying is at some point, this battle with COVID-19 is going to turn into a war of attrition that you're not going to enjoy, because you're not going to be able to beat the enemy. And if you just teamed up with us, we can stop the virus. It's so uncomfortable every time someone calls me, because it's like, I don't want to talk because I'm afraid I'm going to say something that I don't want to say. I'd rather communicate by email. And the moment I start talking about this, that's when I realize how uncomfortable I am with talking to people right now. Even though I'm down to talk to state senators, but what you really need to do is go make sure the Austin bomber's confession's released. Anyways, back to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She doesn't think that gay people should have equal rights in the federal government. She thinks you should be able to discriminate against someone that's gay. She thinks that if you're a doctor and someone comes into your ER and then you go, Oh my gosh, they're wearing rainbow. This guy looks gay. No, we're not going to treat him now. He looks too gay. And according to a recent study I read, there are actually more gay men than gay women. I didn't realize that. I thought there were more gay women because women seem to be more prone to do threesomes than men. So all I'm saying is, do you really think that that's the type of country that you want to live in? Where if you have a son who's gay, he's bleeding out and he shows up at an ER, oh no, we got to find a different doctor because this doctor doesn't like that he's gay. Do you really want to live in that country? Hopefully you don't. Apparently Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to live in that country. She also wants to live in a country where everyone's stupid because, goddamn, that's the only way she's ever going to get elected again is if she has a bunch of stupid people voting for her. On to my next topic. Joe Biden's pushing to reduce our dependence on China, and he is doing it because he's making a smart decision. The United States raw material supply completely depends on China because China's kind of like the middleman between Africa and a lot of people, kind of like Japan's kind of the middleman. But China also is a very major producer of rare earth minerals. And I think what Biden's going to find out is that in order to have access to certain rare earth minerals, then we're going to have to pollute our country big time. We're going to have to damage the environment. And clearly he's trying to take an environmentalist stance with his positions. So I think that what we need to do is change our relationship with China. I've talked about starting this war where we are so dominant that we don't have to worry about anyone fighting us. And when they fight us, it's going to be a slaughter. We will kick their ass. A Chinese executive said, the status quo is that China wants to de-Americanize and the United States wants to de-Chinese-ize. But both face great difficulties as globalization has been going on for so long, and the two countries already play their roles in the world's technology or industry supply chains. They are hard to replace. So China needs us, and we need China, and we both kind of talk crap about each other. At one point, it sure sounded like China was trying to prepare their country for war against us, and I don't think that's good for our country. What's good for our country is creating a positive relationship with China going forward. What's good for our country is not having to go up against an incredibly powerful country in a war when that country could be on our side. And I've said it, we don't want to have massive countries on our team for the most part during World War III because then we have a massive population that we have to take care of. If we're going to choose a country, let's choose China. And it's because they work so hard. It's because they're smart people. It's because they have been preparing for war with us for a long time, and that makes them strong. It makes them awesome. And I want to take their power, combine it with our power, and make us super powerful. The Philippines, is Duterte that big of an asshole? He's not that big of an asshole. But he has definitely acted like an asshole in the past. He's kind of like me. I'm kind of an asshole. I mean, I'm not an asshole, but like I have moments where the stress of everything that's happening in my life turns me into someone that is not who I am. And I think that everyone under pressure can behave poorly or tends to behave poorly at certain times. So I still want the Philippines on our side. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But what I do know is that we need to do a war, and I understand a lot of people are uncomfortable with that idea, but it's important. All right, moving on. So Lady Gaga's dog walker was shot, and 2 of her dogs were stolen. This was in Hollywood, and everyone loves Lady Gaga. At least that's my opinion about it. It's because she has so much personality. It's because she is such an awesome artist. Who she is, deep down in her soul, is art. And I try to be like her. That's why I have my little rubber nose. That's why I have funny outfits. That's why I like to wrap this thing around me. And Lady Gaga is an inspiration for everyone who is a performer. And so let's all take a moment of silence for Lady Gaga because we're really sad, but we're not actually going to have a moment of silence because then that will take up too much time in our video. And we are living in a modern society where no one actually wants to have moments of silence. All right, so my last topic I'll talk about, other than Stevie Wonder's moving to Ghana. Apparently he really likes that country. I can't remember if Ghana's on my list of World War III allies. Hopefully they are. I'll have to check. That's pretty crazy. My actual last final topic is the Chinese would have put me in jail by now. And so no matter what everyone thinks about the FBI being assholes, they would have put me in jail. Wait, the FBI is pretty much trying to put me in jail for the things I've said because they're saying I'm a crazy person because I'm accusing them of things that clearly they have done. But they're trying to put me in jail for a different cause because in the United States, we have the right to free speech. So in China, a woman just spent 6 months in jail for criticizing the Chinese response to COVID-19 and for what they call rumor mongering or rumor spreading. And so I feel like a lot of people are thinking, why in the world do you want China on your side when China's not the best country? At least in India, they have free speech and stuff like that. And what I'll tell you is China's super powerful. China is a country that if their military combines with our military, we will be so freaking badass. You have no idea. We don't even need Russia on our side. Because let's face it, are the Russians assholes? Not all of them. But clearly Vladimir Putin's an asshole. I mean, he hates gay people. Vladimir Putin will murder you if you go against him. But it's not about whether or not Vladimir Putin's an asshole. It's about whether or not I want your nuclear arsenal on my side, whether or not I want your troops on my side, whether or not I think it's easier for us to all just join forces and do a war. The reality of the situation is I think everyone's going to be like, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't want to do World War III. We're all going to be pacifists until we're all dead. And I think that would work out because I feel like COVID-19, as it becomes more contagious, it becomes a lot more deadly, and it could also become more deadly also. And so I feel like COVID-19 is going to kill a lot more people than a war could theoretically, even though, let's face it, if you send in a bunch of people with guns to a populated area and start shooting people, you will kill a lot more people than COVID-19, I promise. I mean, Nigeria is a very, very populated country, and so if we send in troops there and they start shooting people, we kill a lot of people. But is World War III only about killing people? No. I've said it before. We invade Nigeria, what do? We take South Nigeria. We don't take the entire country. We only take the South. We take their oil, and once we secure all these major oil areas, we don't have to go kill people in other areas, but they might need to come kill us to take the oil back. But it's not as easy to kill us and take the oil back as it sounds because it's not just the act of killing our soldiers that they'd have to do. They'd have to actually take the regions and make them pump oil and then transport the oil and all that at the same time, which that's going to be an issue for us, is making sure that those pipelines are safe, make sure that our ships are safe, make sure everything's taken care of. So that's it. Thanks for watching the first episode of Alt Center News. I hopefully am not going to be the anchor someday. I don't feel like I'm the best anchor. I feel like real anchors talk like this. Here in America, I can't even do the newscaster voice. I don't know. I kind of like when anchors don't talk like newscasters. Anderson Cooper doesn't sound like a newscaster. That's it. Hope you enjoyed my logo. I'm very excited about it. I'll see you tomorrow.